All right, so you can still hear me?
I can.
All right, so I am Spegtacular, the Silver Stacular, right here. This guy, and you can't see me, I'm zoomed out. I'm also here with Stormy from Empire Precious Metals. I don't know where I'm pointing, if that's actually going to be pointing at you, but I
Looks
am
like
here.
it.
I mean, I think most people know that you have a YouTube channel and that you talk about the same thing that I talk about here, precious metals and some coins and
Oh
the
yeah.
ins and outs. But you want to go ahead and give yourself a quick little introduction?
I mean, you by and large said it, right? I'm involved in the silver and gold stacking community. I took to YouTube a few years ago because I wanted to find like-minded individuals who valued silver and gold and wanted to, share my opinions with other like-minded individuals. And YouTube seemed like a natural fit. And so here we are, a little over 3 years later, and still chugging along.
I think that for the most part, as far as the feelings that we have about precious metals, and I mean, you and I are pretty similar in our thought process. I mean, am I wrong?
Depends on your thought process as to what you're referring to.
Like, the goal of precious metals and the thought process that this is not a get rich quick scheme, that it's not going to shoot the moon,
Yeah,
things like.
we are grounded in reality.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it. A lot of people out there will lie to people so that they can get those ever precious views.
Yes.
And we tend to tell people the truth, and sometimes the views and the viewership and the subscribers kind of will suffer because of the truth, unfortunately. But we do strive to tell people the truth.
100%. Let's just call it what it is. I always call it the fear mongering, right? I mean, there's a reason why if you turn on any major news network, the overwhelming majority of the news is negative.
Right.
And it's very similar to, YouTube, stacking channels, pardon me, that have a lot of, I would say, negative sentiment regarding the economy, the stability of our nation, and the role silver and gold plays in everything. It really, in my opinion, is trying to peddle fear, trying to gain the views. And that is, something that I also am not a fan of. I've said time and time again, where I thought silver and gold would be, like you said, it's not a get rich quick scheme by any means. And I would say with you then, our mindset is very much aligned as it relates to precious metals, for sure.
Now, what I want to focus on today is I've had to do this, and I'm going to see if you've had to do it. But at some point, you might have to sell this stuff, and a lot of us stack this and hold on to our precious metals into retirement, or we never sell. We pass it on to a loved one after our passing, and so it's meant to be a long-term hold. But sometimes life happens, and you may
Mhm.
have to go ahead and take some or part or all of your stack to get get fixes done in your life. And so basically what I want to ask you is, have you had to do this? Have you had to sell things? And I know you have an auction that you do,
Mhm.
but beyond your auction, have you had to sell some of your stack to go ahead and finance other things going on?
100%. Yes. Yes. In fact, very recently, as early as few days ago, to be 100% honest. Like you said, silver and gold, it's a good way to sock away your money and have a little discipline worked in there, because it's not exactly liquid in the form of cash just yet, right? There's the steps involved of having to find buyers to then get the cash out of it. So for me, this has worked very well. And over the last 2 months, I've had to pay for some major bills, excuse me, bills for my home. Had to redo the air conditioning, which cost us quite a bit of money. And we recently just finished our driveway, which also was a lot. All said and told we're looking at just under $22,000 in unforeseen repairs.
Wow.
So, for me, I could either deplete some of my cash or look at gold. And right now I see gold continuing to drop, and it's being said that potentially the Fed is going to increase interest rates by another 75 basis points in September. And so with that, you would see gold drop even further. Some people have been saying maybe in the 16s. So I'm looking at this as an opportunity to offload some of the shiny yellow stuff to pay for things that I need to pay for right now. I'd rather pay for it with cash as opposed to paying with a credit card. So I just did sell 9 ounces total of gold in the last couple months. So absolutely, I have had to tap into my stack to pay for bills that were related to my home.
Now, how does that make you feel that you had to sell that many ounces? I mean, did you have an attachment to it? Are you brokenhearted? You know what I mean? Like, what's the feeling there?
So one of the benefits of having the auction over time, you do start to lose that attachment that you have with your collection. A lot of people get attached to their collections, maybe because of nostalgia. Certain memories come back with certain items, and that could be for anything. I've learned over the last couple of years with the auctions that by and large, just about everything is replaceable. Whether it be comic books, whether it be sports cards, whether it be silver and gold coins. And, for me, thank God I had the stack there to tap it when needed. But I would say, because I keep track of everything in a spreadsheet, it does sting a little bit seeing my, gold stack, go down by, 9 ounces. That definitely does sting. But again, this is all something that I could buy back very easily. I sold off Maple Leafs and I sold off some gold eagles. And I can very easily just go to the coin shop, pick up, one here, one there. The fact of the matter is I needed the money now. And so I wanted to sell it off. So, with regard to what you're talking about with the attachment, I've said time and time again on my channel, don't get attached to your stack. It's there for a reason. You read the comments. A lot of people say that, this is a form of savings. And so people who are watching this video, what are your savings for? Your savings are for a rainy day. Your savings are for, generational wealth. Some people want to pass it down. So that's what it's there for. So yes, it does hurt a little bit, but I know that I will be adding back to the stack as time goes on.
When you sold,
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes. Let's go to that. Yes, I have sold some gold before to make a purchase. It's one of those things where it's like, well, should I buy this thing? It's gonna hit me a little bit. So gold was an option to sell, and I know a lot of people are probably going to be not liking to hear this, but I ended up selling some of it to buy a gun, like a really big.
Are you talking about that elephant gun? You had that one video of you either on Instagram or something at the range.
Right, the Barrett 50 cal, and I had people saying to me like, "You should never sell gold," and I get that. I get, it holds on to your wealth, but then when I did sell it and I sold it for the gun, people were like, "Okay, that's like the one thing you're allowed to sell it for." Okay.
Well, when you think about our community, right? Very, very big into silver, gold, and the Second Amendment.
And the preppers, right? Yeah. So they're like, okay, that's the one thing that we can accept.
Yeah. And
so I did that. Yes.
Right. And it's, again, I mean, it's not like it can't be replaced. That's the other thing. A lot of people say never sell your gold. And I understand you do have to you have to work hard to be able to put your money aside to buy the gold. It's not easy to save money. And like you said, though, and I've talked about this on some of my videos, right? A lot of people within the stacking community say all the time, it's a hedge against inflation. But, you look at the inflation rates right now, and a lot of people are saying, okay, it's not quite the hedge that they once thought. They continue to see gold continue to drop in value. Same thing with silver. And so look what happens when you actually want to sell. If you were buying over the last year or 2 years when gold was, near its all-time highs, or actually did hit all-time highs, and now you're selling in this environment, you're actually losing money. So, there's that to consider as well. It helps save your money, yes, but is it foolproof in terms of locking in your wealth and everything? Not necessarily. Not if you are buying high and selling lower. Absolutely not.
There's going to be some people who are going to give us hate on this video because they're going to be like, "Oh, you were weak, you were paper-handed." You know what I mean, for selling like that. So, it is what it is, though. I accept all the criticism.
Yeah.
It's just that, we needed to do at the time. And you said that you can rebuild. And after I sold my gold, I absolutely rebuilt and then some.
Yeah.
So, it can't be built back up. It happened for me, and I'm sure it'll happen for you too. I also want to establish too, like, again, Stormy has his own YouTube channel, Empire Precious Metals. And Stormy, if it's okay with you, down in the description of the video, of course, I will put your information down there so people can just click it and see your channel and subscribe to you, I hope.
I appreciate that. We have a lot of common subscribers, but anybody new is always welcome. And this is the other thing too, going back to selling the gold for different purchases. You had made a sale of gold to pick up your elephant gun. I just recently sold off the gold to make those big improvements for my home. But also about, I would say, a month or so ago, I had sold a few ounces of gold on my auction because I was the issue with my gold stack is I see it sitting there and it's not really doing anything for me other than just sitting there. It's not returning any money like, let's say, the stock market would, right? I decided to sell off a few ounces to take the cash from that gold, buy some silver, and with that inventory, sell that at a higher rate and get more money for it. That's the other thing too that some people can do. I've seen it time and time again. People will sell their gold to make acquisitions of real estate, right? So strategically, you could tap into your stack if it makes sense to, make you either more money or get you some sort of other asset, such as, another home.
It makes total sense. Now, I know that in the auction setting, you didn't have any kind of issues when it came to selling, but you said you sold to your local shop, right?
I did a combo. So the issue with selling to the local shop, even though Steve, who's been on a bunch of my videos, he and I have been doing business now for basically the entire time that he's been at his location. He was brand new, just got into the coin business himself, and I found him just a few months after he had opened his doors. When I do sell to him, I am going to take a beating, regardless of how much he and I do in business. Regardless of how many people see our videos and go to his shop, regardless of how much I buy from him, I am still going to take less from him than I would from people, let's say, that are, peer to peer, like, just selling to people that are watching my auctions or selling to people on Instagram or a friend, etc. Right. So I did a combination, sold some to Steve and I sold some to people that were in attendance of my live stream.
I know it's hard because the price of gold fluctuates. You might not even remember at the price point that you sold it for at the time. But let's just throw a number out. Let's say gold is 2,000. As the spot price of gold is $2,000. Let's give me an example. Like, what were you getting hit by? How much were you losing?
I made a video on it. I lost about $500 on the immediate sale of the gold that I had sold. So let's say, what's that?
All 9 ounces, right?
No. This is previous to the 9 ounces.
Oh.
Previous to the 9 ounces, I had sold some gold. I think it was like 3 or 4 ounces to stock up on some inventory because, as you know, there was some big releases like the Black Flag series. There was some other big releases that were coming out. And, like I said, I saw the gold sitting there. I almost view it as like a loan to myself. I needed to go big on some of these purchases for my inventory. So I lost around, I would say about $500 on the sale of that gold to people within my stream and or Steve. But then with that loss, okay, I'm buying a bunch of silver and I'm actually making more on the sales of the silver. That's going to not only cover the loss of that 500, but also bring me some more profit. It was a very calculated thing. When it comes to the 9 ounces that I sold recently between my coin shop and a friend of mine, I took, luckily, only a loss of $200. But again, right there, that all in, that's like, if you want to just look at the purchase of the gold and the sale of the gold, that's a $700 loss. Again, that's something that people need to consider too. And the other thing too, I would say, Speg, is that you and I are in the unique position that we have our platforms that actually allow us a bit more of a return on the sale of some of our precious metals than if we were a regular everyday person that wasn't creating content on YouTube and we're actually just either selling to a shop or selling to somebody on, on some sort of app. You and I have developed, a following on our channels, and people have, tuned into my channel week in and week out for my streams, and they get to know me. They've done a lot of transactions with me. So it's just like building that, customer base and that rapport. But again, we get a bigger return on the sale of our items because you've done your own auctions too. And, if you didn't have your platform, most likely you would not be selling those metals for what you were able to get for them on your channel.
100%. And, let's take it a step further. A lot of times we could buy a couple pieces of gold, maybe like you mentioned the Black Flag series. We could buy those and, we can get a decent amount of profit because first of all, they're good sellers. Second of all, there they are right there. That's a good coin.
Yes, it is.
They're good sellers. They were instantly, as soon as you bought them, they were worth more when you went to go resell them. And then, like you said, because of our channels, our platforms, we probably get a little bit higher of a rate. And then we also can put them on our channel and talk about them. And our channels are monetized. So we get a little piece of, the money back from YouTube. There's other things that we get too, for sure. So generally with like bullion products, as soon as you buy them, you're at a loss.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's rough to say that it's not like a stock where like you might find an exchange where you can get it for free, and so you're at that very, very starting point. You're able to sell it for that same price. You start out at a loss when you buy precious metals.
100%.
Which is why a long-term hold usually, because you're already at a loss. You got to hope for that increase.
Yeah. And going off of that point that you're at a loss, and I'm just kind of looking at some of the stuff that are on my desk, a lot of the times I am telling people, like you just mentioned the Black Flag, I'm telling people that's a big kidney stone, by the way, that you passed this morning. Was that this morning or yesterday?
That was yesterday. This is actually solid gold.
Yeah, listen, I don't know how you were able to pass that, but bravo for still being here with us. The metals that you're taking at a loss, I'm always telling people that they should really start considering the semi-numismatic stuff, the stuff like the Black Flag that I just showed, the Marvel coins, things like that, things that have limited mintages, are almost in line. In some cases, they cost less than American Silver Eagles, but yet they could yield you better returns on, let's say, like a platform like an eBay or whatever, because of the collectability. And I've talked about this time and time again. Why wouldn't somebody want to, let's say, if they were able to buy, let's say, like this, I don't know if this will focus, this Deadpool coin, if they were able to pick this up for, close to the same amount as to what a Silver Eagle is going for, the difference is you have a far smaller mintage on the Deadpool coin. And so for like the Black Flag coin that we were talking about, while those were released at $32, $33 a piece on APMEX's site, they were simultaneously already being sold on the secondary market on eBay for $45. So while APMEX was still selling them at 33, they were selling for $45 on eBay. And I don't know if that's because people just don't know about APMEX or whatever, and they're on eBay. So, yes, 100% people should go into it knowing or thinking that they're going to be taking a loss on the metals that they are buying, unless, like you said, they're waiting for that super long-term hold. And I say, to combat that, they should really start thinking about the semi-numismatic stuff.
We have a lot of different ideologies when it comes to stacking and collecting and stuff. So you have a lot of people that believe that silver is silver and gold is gold. You get it for as low as possible, bada bang. So when they hear about the Black Flag series, they can't grasp it. They're like, oh man, don't buy that stuff. Make sure you're only buying silver at the lowest possible price. Don't buy the specialty, the exotic silver. Don't mess around with that stuff. And no matter how much you tell them and show them that when you buy this stuff, it's a good chance, very solid chance that you're going to get a increase over what you pay for it. They just cannot wrap their heads around it. I don't hate them for it, but they're stubborn.
They are very stubborn. And like you said, like some people do try to stick to this is, the generic Buffalo rounds. They're going to try to stick to as close to spot as possible. And, Buffalo rounds, if they're going for like $23, $24, and they're very closely tied to the spot price and the fluctuation. And like I said, again, you got the Black Flag that was selling for 32, but was going for $45 at the same time. Like some people, and I posted, on my social media platforms, I'm like, you could just go right now on APMEX, buy yourself 10 of these coins and just go and flip them right away on eBay. Yep. And so it's, like you said, different schools of thought. You also have the people that get into the junk silver. I know you are big into the junk silver. I own very little, maybe less than $10 of junk silver. And that includes Morgan and Peace dollars. I know some people are like, they don't consider them junk, but they are. I very little constitutional.
That was one of my big starting points when I started my channel, was talking about junk silver and how much I believed in it. I believe in it less now. Not that I think it's no good. It's just the price you pay for it, the premium is out of control on that stuff. So it doesn't have the same advantages as when I first started getting into it. Still cool, don't get me wrong. Listen, preppers out there, like I love the stuff too, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't have the same advantages. The price of it right now kind of seems extreme. And I think there are some better options out there.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned, prices are coming down on stuff, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and it's no longer, it seems like, a hedge against inflation. And you're questioning what's going to happen with the markets every single day right now. It's a scary time to get involved in it, because are you going to pay $1,700 for an ounce of gold just to watch it go to $1,600 in a month?
Right.
It's tough.
It's very much so. And I recently just watched a video with a one of these financial gurus on YouTube. I have a video coming out on Saturday talking about it, but essentially what this person said, they're pretty much in line with Warren Buffett. They don't own any silver. They don't own any gold. They said that there's no intrinsic value, that it's only worth what somebody is willing to pay you for it. And that essentially, I guess they do have a point. And, talking about the hedge against inflation thing and everything, like, I would be lying if I said to you, I still believe in precious metals as wholeheartedly as I once did before. I do have a little bit more skepticism of it, whether that's because I do buy and sell a lot of it and I don't get attached to it. And it's just, to me, they're like now widgets almost. Just, it could be anything. I buy for one price, sell it for another. Don't get attached to it. But again, with everything that's happening, we have, put it to you this way, Speg, and the viewers that made it this far into the video, think about all of the things that we have going on simultaneously that should make metals skyrocket, and they have gone in the complete opposite direction. We've got inflation at 40-year highs. We've got a geopolitical conflict happening between Russia and Ukraine. This is also happening as we have this high inflation. We've got a pandemic that's still going on, even though it feels like it's a thing of the past. I mean, we got the pandemic, plus we got like the monkeypox outbreak that's growing. I mean, we've got that. And, we have the stock market that just last week dropped significantly. So you've got four things. And again, think about like the pandemic that, when we were in lockdown and everything, you've got these four major things that everybody would say by themselves would cause precious metals to skyrocket. We've got all four of these happening at once, and metals are down. So for me, they're not quite the hedge against inflation like a lot of people say. And I would also argue too, how much of those points are really just an echo chamber between all the people within the stacking community on YouTube. It's a few talking points that some of the major channels have discussed, and then the smaller channels come up and they say they repeat some of the stuff that those guys are saying. And then you've got these other guys that come up and they're saying the same thing. And you've got everybody kind of feeding on all the same points. But look at what metals are doing and think about the stuff that everybody says will cause metals to skyrocket. They're all happening simultaneously, and it's not happening. And again, we're looking at a September where we're thinking that most likely the Fed is going to increase interest rates again, and that's just going to beat metals down even further. So I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on that.
Well, yeah, we saw this a few years back where there was, rioting and craziness going on and beginning of the pandemic. And, the thought process is when there was bad news, it was good news for metals. But then we saw metals literally, like silver went down to $11 an ounce.
Yep.
They were like holding their britches going like, whoa, like, wait a minute. Like, how is this even possible? Now, yes, it was very difficult to find metals at the $11, although there were places that you could still do it. It was difficult to find it. But yeah, that was quite the opposite of what people believed at the time, right? We all that disaster, we thought, oh boy, here we come, $50 an ounce metals. We're going to see that any day now. Did not happen. But yeah, and like you said earlier too, like the bad news sells. The good news nobody wants to hear. And when it comes to precious metals, if people are going like, hey, listen, hold on because your gold's about to be $10,000 an ounce, and they start lying to people, people like, they love that. They're like, oh man, this guy says that I'm going to have $10,000 an ounce gold. My silver's going to, $100 an ounce. So I just got to keep holding. I got to keep holding. That's what they want to hear. And unfortunately, that's not the truth, but they don't care because that's not what they want to hear, that they're going to be rich any day. They're going to be millionaires.
Yeah. And how many of these people actually have, gone and sold their stuff at losses will actually admit it. Like I just came on here and I said, I sold all that gold and I lost money on it. It's life. And no matter how, big the YouTube channel following or whatever, you still can lose money on it. And I'd like to think I know what I'm doing. I've been doing it for about 3 years, the buying and selling. But even then, like at my coin shop, I don't know about Guy, Coin Guy, your man down in Florida, but I talked to Steve, like these times right now too, that precious metals are tanking. It's a hard time for dealers because when metals are high, you're buying the inventory at higher price points. And then when spot drops from underneath you, your customers are expecting the prices to come down, and you start taking losses on some of the stuff. So it's a fact, that's some of the stuff that comes with the metals.
Right. So here we're going to do this, right? We've talked about you needing to sell. I've sold before. The outlook kind of like is changing on gold and silver. So with that being said, with your changing outlook, what are you going to do from here on out? What's your strategy? Are you just going to like not buy gold anymore? Are you going to stop? Or are you just going to stay the course? Are you going to, replenish and, bring your stack back up to where it is? What's the future like?
What's the end game? I would like to bring my stack up at least 7 ounces. Originally, my goal was to get to 50 ounces. I was very, very close. And then I sold off a bunch. I'd like to get at least like 7 ounces of gold to give me like, to get to like a number that won't mess with my OCD. And then, to be honest, I think I'll stop with the gold for a while, unless I start seeing pieces that I like. I've been buying some of like the more collectible gold, which is another thing that you could take major losses on. So people, make sure you're very careful if you get into that. But I would like to buy a little bit more gold. I'd like to increase my cash position. And as far as silver, I've been saying for a long time, I don't really stack silver at all. I have some, and the remainder is all just for buying and selling. I don't stack it. To me, it's cumbersome. Talked about this before. I've done those full stack videos where I've had to make many trips to carry it all. And I'm like, you know what, if there was ever a fire or the like flash flood and I needed to get out of the home or whatever, I mean, I would want to take my metals with me, and taking that much silver, I mean, you can't. So a little bit more gold, build up my cash reserves a bit more. I'm not stacking silver, and that's by and large it. I'm not one of those people that's going to continually throw money into gold. I don't think anymore. Maybe I'll go back to the 50 goal. We'll see. How about you? What are you thinking?
Well, so I'm just going to stay the course, I think, ultimately. You and I have been friends for a while, and I don't know if you know this, but you've asked me a few times, throwing it out there, like, hey, Speg, like, how many ounces of gold do you have? You've asked me that a few times, right? And do you remember how many ounces I told you I have?
No.
Because I don't know, and I tell you I don't know because I genuinely do not know. And is it a good idea to maybe count it up once in a while and try to figure out where you are? Probably, yeah. That way you can figure out where your overall wealth is, your number. But I have no idea, and that doesn't mean that I have 1,000 ounces, right? That doesn't mean that I have 100 ounces. That just literally means that I don't know. I buy it, I put it away, and I hope to not touch it. But if there's like a gun that's bigger than the one I got right now, I probably will sell it and buy that bigger gun. I mean, that's just what I do. And that's my strategy. It's just been buying little by little and just putting it away. And if I need it, then I do need it. I still do buy silver. I have a few, and I've made a video on this of how many 100-ounce bars I have. And funny enough, I can't even think about how many was in that video right now. I don't know, was it 8, 7? I don't know. But I still am a believer of silver. I think it's a long-term thing. I think that, for industry, that you're going to have to have these metals. Yeah. But there's much of it out there. So the fact that people say, oh, silver is going to be $100 or $1,000 an ounce one day, I think that that's just really, really inaccurate. There's so much of it out there. It makes no sense mathematically for that to ever happen in our lifetimes. But I guess stranger things have happened in the world lately that, could it happen? I'm not going to say no, but it doesn't make sense in my mind. But yeah, as far as I have, and I don't know. And my goal is just to, keep on swimming.
It's a good goal. There's, it's a good goal to have. I mean, in the long run, you're still setting yourself up to be in a much better position than most. It's not a horrible strategy, just putting buying the gold and just tucking it away and not really knowing. Cause like one day it's like reaching into like a jeans pocket or something. And you find like $20. You're like, oh, look at that. So like one day you're going to go in there and you're like, all right, let's sit down. Let's see how much I have. You go, holy moly, look at that. So you'll be pleasantly surprised.
I go to a lot of coin shows, and I talk to a lot of like old timers that, they didn't start by being dealers, but now later in their life, now they're trying to offload some of their stack, and now they become dealers. And they all have a very similar story where they said, hey, when I was 23, when I was 25, whatever, 30, they started buying little by little. And so the stuff that they have on their tables that they're now selling is literally stuff that they've been stacking for, decades. And now they're trying to offload it. And they just kept putting stuff away until old age set in. And they're like, hey, I'm going to live a little bit. I'm retired. I want a little money to play around with. And that's what they're doing now. So that's kind of like where I am. I'm just going to keep putting it away. Maybe one day I want to be one of them and be a dealer at a show and start offloading little bits here and there. Or maybe I don't. Maybe I pass it on to the kids if they still love their dad. I don't know. Maybe they're going to like hate me one day, and maybe I just bury myself with it. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, if that happens, you give me a call, and I'll take it off your hands before you get buried with it.
Okay. Unless you become really negative on gold and silver, and then you're like, I don't even want that stuff. Just ew, icky.
Listen, I mean, like you said, strange things have happened. As of now, I still like the stuff, but who knows, right? Maybe one day funding a second home, possibly. I don't know. That's never know. But I appreciate you, having me on your channel. We're gonna have to do this again soon. Have you on mine? And I appreciate everything that you do for the community, and for all the help you've given me over the last few years. And it's been a real pleasure getting to know you on and off of YouTube.
Oh, ditto. The pleasure goes my way as well. I'm happy to know you. And if I can help you out and stuff, not that my channel is that much bigger than yours, but, that's what we have to do as a community. We have to work together to build each other up. And I think that some of us have gotten away from that a little bit, but, and life happens. I get it. It's happening for me right now. And it's making it to where it's tough for me to connect with everybody. But
yeah.
Just shot you a message. I said, hey, let's do something. I got a small little window of availability, and you
Boom.
picked up on it. Yeah.
Got it done.
But anyways, again, everybody check down below the video in the description. I'll have all of Stormy's information down there. Empire Precious Metals. You just click on it right there and go see his page. Subscribe to him, check out his auctions, maybe don't, buy everything, but maybe just, check out what he does and stuff. He has a very fun auction. It's not just, hey, give me money and get out. It's you have a fun time there, and you really do get to know the audience, and you kind of almost make friends with them. I mean, because you know who they are. It's like it's a gathering, and it's fun.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of them actually off of the platform, whether it be email. Some of them I've gotten close to where I talk to them on the phone. But no, it's a good scene. It's a lot of fun. Thank you for the shameless plug. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. And you do coin shop interviews and stuff, so those are fun. Everybody loves those. So it's
those are good. I haven't done them in a while. I haven't done one with Steve in a couple of months. Just been busy. It's been a busy summer.
Life happens.
Life happens, buddy. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, man, Stormy. Let's do it again sometime, like you said. And this was a good talk. Hopefully people actually got something out of it. I got something out of it. I got some knowledge from you. So that makes me feel better that I sold some gold to, buy a gun, because you had to sell some gold too. So, I'm not so brokenhearted anymore, because I know you had to do it too.
Misery loves company.
Misery loves company. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I'll see you next time. Do you have any outro? That's it? You got nothing?
Oh, I know. No, just cut it. Leave this in. Leave this in. That's the outro.
All right. See you later.
All right. So did you hit stop recording?
Nope. Hold on. Where's stop recording at?
I don't know. Leave that in there too.
No, I got to take that out. All right. Stop. Which one's actually stop?
It still says recording.
Hold on. Well, hello, everybody. I seek to educate and entertain through my journey of collecting coins and stacking precious metals. I encourage you to subscribe, and please stay with me on this journey. I am Spegtacular, the Silver Stacular.